have no way of succeeding. They tear our families apart so that there's not a mother. We don't have a mother and a father in our home, right? Most of us have a mother or a father that's in jail, or a mother and a father that's left, or a father and a mother that's in jail. Our families have been separated. It's about more than race. You want to ride the race train. You want to say defund the police. Yes, I think that the police there should be some something done about them. I think that their weapons should be taken away. I think you should demilitarize the police. I believe in all of that. But I also believe that American descendants of slavery deserve reparations. Do you believe we deserve reparations? And if you truly want to stand with us, if you truly want unity like you say you do, the only thing I should be hearing out your mouth is that my American brothers and sisters need reparations. You should be standing for your brothers and sisters instead of trying to push your own agenda. Because we stand with everybody. We travel to North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin. We stand with everybody. But nobody stands with us. We out here by ourselves trying to get what is owed to us by the United States government. And if you really want to be with us, I have no problem with other people. I love everybody. But if you really want unity, if you really love us, if you really want that thing that you guys call unity or the posse's talking about, whatever that is, if you really want that, the only thing that we should be pushing is reparations for American descendants of slavery. There's a huge wealth gap in the United States of America. And we only control 2% of that wealth. 2%. African immigrants control more wealth than we do. White people control more wealth than we do. We control 2%. So if you really want to see us, if you really want to stand by us, stand with me, hold my hand, and demand justice for American descendants of slavery. Demand justice for those people who are here before you. Demand justice for those people who paved the way for you to get here. Show me that you really love me, if you like you say you do. My name is Minister Toya Willard. I'll be back with you later. I just wanted to share those few thoughts with you. I am running for 5th Congressional District in Minnesota. Remember me. Hello. I'm community control over the police. Reparations now. Universal basic income, universal health care for all. Thank you.
Black lives! Black lives! Black lives! Black lives! Black lives! Black lives! George Floyd was accused of either having a counterfeit bill or having a fake check or something, but it shouldn't have cost him his life. George Floyd, there's an LA Times article about George Floyd's family and how much racism that they have experienced. George Floyd's family, his great-great-grandfather had 500 acres of land stolen from him. Land helps, and real estate helps people create generational wealth. Black people had 15 million acres of land after slavery in the Reconstruction period. Today we have 1 million acres of land. So close to 13 million acres of land have been stolen from black people. And we need that money so that we can have generational wealth for our children. The median income right now, like Ms. Woodland was saying, 90% of the wealth is held by whites. About 2.3% of the wealth is held by blacks. Here in the city of St. Paul, we just had a trash collection vote. And I love Isaiah. And we hope that Isaiah signs on to our reparations. We're working on something called the St. Paul Recovery Act that will be a model like it did in Evanston, Illinois for reparations. And we hope that Isaiah will sign on to that like they signed on to trash collection. And use that.
I support reparations. Can we hear that? I support reparations.
Reparations! Reparations! Reparations, we'll be coming to your church. We'll be coming to your mosque. We'll be coming to your synagogue in the next couple of weeks asking you to sign on to the St. Paul Recovery Act. The St. Paul Recovery Act is designed to give reparations for the people who live in the city of St. Paul, for the American descendants of slaves who live in St. Paul. Ramsey County did a study, an anti-racism study, and found that their policies and procedures pathologize the black family in Ramsey County. So we need reparations for that. You can't destroy our families and just say we're going to give you training or we're going to give you a job. We need to be made whole. We need it for Rondo, the Rondo community. How many of you know about the Rondo community and how the freeway ran through and it knocked out black businesses in a black neighborhood? We need reparations for that. The same thing happened in Rosewood, happened in Harlem, happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Black business districts were destroyed. Even with the COVID-19 payroll protection funds, 95% of black businesses did not get any payroll protection money. And we've seen a lot of black businesses go under just in 2020. So this is why we're here. We're demanding reparations for our businesses and for ourselves and for our communities. 75% of black voters, this is what the posse needs to understand. 75% of black voters, the people that you say are the backbone of the Democrat Party, want direct cash payments for reparations. So that's what you should be talking about. Don't force things on us that we're not concerned about. We're concerned about our economic viability. We're concerned about our savings. That's what we're concerned about. And we're concerned about generational wealth for our children. We're concerned about homelessness. 50% of the people in America that are homeless are black. So there's a housing component to reparations too. There's a business component to reparations. There's a health and wellness component to reparations. And there's a criminal injustice part to reparations. So we want all political prisoners free. We want... That's right, post-traumatic slave syndrome, PTSS. So those are some of the things that we're talking about and that we're demanding. Reparation isn't just about a check, but the check is very, 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 very important. So I'm going to say cut the check, and then I want you to say cut the check with me. Cut the check. Cut the check. Donald Trump, cut the check. So with the criminal injustice system, we want people who are, if you're in jail right now for a nonviolent offense because of COVID-19, we feel that you should be released. We don't want people to die who have committed nonviolent offenses in the jails in Minnesota or throughout the country. So we're going to bring up the next speaker, but Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! We have John Thompson, very strong activist, but he supports a black agenda. I believe he supports full and complete reparations for the American descendants of slavery. And it's going to have to be a bipartisan effort. So one thing, we talk about solidarity, we talk about coalition, but we want solidarity based on the terms of equality. That our issues are just as important as our brothers. Reparations is just as important as DACA or police brutality. So if we're going to support each other, we want you to support reparations, and then we'll support DACA. We'll support, we'll stand up against, we already have done these things though. But when Trump says he wants a Muslim ban, your black brothers and sisters who went through slavery will stand with you. All we're asking is you stand with us on our justice claim. So we're talking to John Thompson, powerful leader. Take it away.
Thank you. It wasn't that long ago, 2016, we were right here, probably about 250, 350 people here with us after my good friend Philando Castile was murdered in St. Anthony, and we were asking for police accountability. Here we are again today, right? And I remember telling back then, it was Representative Tony Cornish and Dan Schoen and Nick Zerwals. I remember telling them that we were going to put people in position to replace them out of those seats because they don't mean us well. And I want to tell y'all that at the end of the day, it was a black man on the ground with a knee on his neck. It was a black man in the car that got shot 6 times with a little girl in the back seat. And coincidentally, it was a black man who's the only black police officer in this state ever convicted. It sucks to be a black man in the state of Minnesota is what I'm telling you. And I promise y'all I didn't come here to be politically correct and try to say what people want me to say. I'm angry. And I have every right to be angry because we were just here and we could have did something about it a long time ago. I know people put up a lot of hate, but I'm telling y'all out here right now, I love y'all. Can I receive that same love back? Okay, so if you love me, help me with the new protest. The new protest is to march your butt to the polls and remove some of these worms out of office. And when I say worms, I'm talking about these white, old Republican men in Senate. Paul Gazelka gotta go. Ron Limmer gotta go. And anybody else who don't support us. Right now, they're present for us. Right now, while we're standing on this lawn, they're present for us across the street at the Senate is to not pass any police accountability measures. Right? Now the buzzword when Philando was murdered was de-escalation training, implicit bias training, training. And in reality they were getting bulletproof warrior training and I'm in fear for my life training. I just seen that the head of the Department of Public Safety, Chief Harrington over here, but I'm just telling you that Officer Chauvin showed us what they were training these officers because he was the training officer on the scene training those other 2 men how you treat a black man when you pull him over. We don't need no more money for training. Check this out. Out of this building, you have never tried to fund community nothing. But you funded over billions of dollars in policing. The city of St. Paul and the city of Minneapolis had how many shootings? So we wasn't safe. We're not safe from our people, and we're not safe from you. So why are we investing money in something that don't work? As a taxpayer, I want a refund on my dollar. The new movement, y'all, the new protest, y'all, and I'll say it every time I grab the mic. Y'all must have heard Sister Toya when she told you she's running for the Senate district. She's running to be a senator. Support that movement. Put your name on the ballot. Mostly put your ballot in that box. I don't care if you don't think your vote don't matter. Your voice don't matter. Your voice don't matter. If you don't use it, it don't matter. So don't complain about it later. The new protest is to march our butts to these polls and remove some of these clowns out of office who have been occupying these seats 21 years, 22 years, 23 years, uncontested. They think we're comfortable. They think we're comfortable with what we're receiving from them because we don't complain until something happens. Our new complaint has to be lodged at that damn poll. Some of y'all out here in this audience voted for Donald Trump. Some of y'all in this audience voted for Paul Gazelka. Some of y'all in this audience voted for some of these clowns who don't want to help us. Here's the truest statement I'll ever say in my life. Legislation created all the disparities we see here in this state, and they can fix them. They don't want to. Why? I'm uncontested. I've been uncontested for 20 years. These people think we're comfortable giving them nothing. They think we're comfortable with the knee on our neck. And I'm going to say it again. It was a black man with a knee on his neck. It was a black man in the car. It was a black man who got shot in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It was a black man, and it's always black men. Black men, we have to teach our kids that they can be whatever they want to be, and we have to set the example. I'll put my name on the ballot. I'll put my name on the ballot because I want to make good on my promise. I told them I'm going to put somebody in place to replace you. Now check this out. Everybody's talking about how John Thompson talks and his demeanor. I'm DFL endorsed. I'm AFL-CIO endorsed. I'm ASME endorsed. And I'm on my way to that building to be the change that I want to see in my community by all means necessary. That's the new damn protest. Please don't take my words and go home with them. And if you're an ally, you can go home because I don't need you. I need an accomplice. I need somebody to get their head busted with me. I need somebody that's not going to pull out their phone and record me getting my head busted by the police. I need somebody to dive in there and get them off me. We don't need no more allies. Allies get to go home. Accomplice gonna get a bond with you. Accomplice gonna get a bail with you. An accomplice gonna get on the freeway with you. The accomplice is gonna stomp the status quo. Racism on the way to fuck up out of here in the state of Minnesota, and we gotta be the catalyst for it. Racism is on its way up out of here in Minnesota, and we will be the catalyst for it. Listen, there were buildings burning. There are buildings completely demolished. There was an uprising here. There was a riot here. There was looting here. What I saw was people that didn't get a $1,200 stimulus package going into Target. I saw people who couldn't get no help from the government going into Target. This was gas on the ground, just wait for the damn match to go on it. John, you're not supposed to talk like that because you're running for office. Man, that's the problem in legislation like that now. That's the problem in legislation, is people trying to tell you how the hell to talk. Am I supposed to sugarcoat a murder? Wasn't that sweet about what happened to George Floyd? That wasn't pretty. Wasn't that sweet about what happened to Philando? That wasn't pretty. Cordell Handy, Phil Quinn, and the list goes. Hey, if we rolled out the list of dead bodies, it'll go all the way to the expressway, past us, and to the west side. They have been killing black bodies, and now all of a sudden people want to say Black Lives Matter. Black lives been mattering to me. Oh, in case y'all can't tell, I'm a black man. I've been black all my life. That's all I know how to discuss is black, 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 black. I voted for Barack Obama because he was black. I'm black. If you're not going to stand with me, get away from me. I'm tired. Nobody's doing shit for us. Nobody. Nobody's doing a damn thing for us. In this Capitol, in the Washington, D.C., nobody does nothing for black people but sell us dreams. Who cares about black bodies? I do. I'm a black man. I care about black bodies, and that's why I'm going to be the change I want to see in my community. I'm no longer going to talk about what I want. I'm going to be about what I want, and I challenge you, sister, to be what you're talking about right now, because at the end of the day, ain't nobody going to do nothing for us but us. A lot of times we attack the people and not the problem. We need to attack the problem and not the people, because people going to fail you all the time. At the end of the day, I love all my people. I love y'all, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. Send me that love back. People put enough hate in this world. It's hate coming from the White House. It's hate coming from the Republican Party. It's hate coming from the city council. Listen, it ain't enough color in none of these crayon boxes. How many board meetings you been to and you only see one black person? How many city council meetings you've seen and you don't see nobody that looks like you? How many government meetings you've seen and nobody looks like you? Black people think this is a damn museum. They come here and watch the pictures and the beautiful statues, not knowing that across the street they are passing legislation so they can go back to Elk River and leave us here with this crap. I know what I'm talking about because I've been black all my damn life. I'm talking about how black people been treated in this earth for 40 years. I'm sorry, but the color of my skin should not determine if I live or die. Are you scared that your 11-year-old son can't go outside? Are you scared that your 24-year-old son can't go outside? Are you scared that your cousins can't go outside? Are you scared for your life? Every time you go outside, not by the police only, but black people who look like me, white people who look like me, white supremacists. And by the way, the Klan ain't went nowhere. They just got more sophisticated with their plays. Their ideology is still right here on these steps that I'm standing on. Their ideology is still in this complex right here that we're standing on. The Klan ain't went nowhere. They had grandkids. And their grandkids had grandkids. And out came Donald Trump. Oh my God, somebody help my sister. Out came Donald Trump. Out came Bob Cole. Out came Paul Gazelka. Out came Roy Little. And if they're listening, tell them I said that we're going to put people in place to give them about these seats. That's the no protest. Put your ballot in that box. Vote. 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 If you don't vote, we get Donald Trump again. I know we don't have the best candidates, but we got to get him out. Listen, if I said anything to offend y'all, I don't care. I was offended by what I saw on 38th in Chicago. If I said anything to offend y'all, I don't care. Because I've been offended every time I walk outside and get looked at like I'm less than a human being because of the color of my skin. And to all black legislators and lawmakers and people of color, let me tell you something about people of color, by the way, and then I'll go. You know, we got some people of color who can walk in a building, straighten their hair out, and benefit from white privilege. Ask Officer Geronimo Yanez. He was a person of color. If I'm lying, snatch this microphone from me. There are people of color who can walk in a building and won't even identify as a person of color until it's convenient for them. I can't scrape this toast off my skin. Trust me. So when you see my demeanor and you say I'm angry and you try to question my demeanor and critique me like I don't have the right to be angry when my best friend was murdered in St. Anthony, Minnesota in 2016 with a little girl in the backseat of the car, and we're right here again talking about funding more training for the police. We already saying what they're getting trained to do. Stop putting all your money in one basket. The police are not protecting us. Their job is to serve and protect. And what we saw on 38th in Chicago was them serving the hell out of George Floyd. None of these officers protected him. Even the ones who swore off that they would take us, they swore off that they would protect. They watched. They are just as guilty. Please, if you're complaining about the buildings burning and the fires and the looting, look in the mirror and ask, what the hell have you done to prevent it? Challenge yourself to be a better version of yourself. Challenge yourself to go into these offices with some of your white counterparts and tell them exactly what I said to y'all. It sucks to be a black man in this state. And if you're not going to be the change you want to see, then you will keep on complaining and receiving what you receive from these people. Trust me, they think we're comfortable with what we're getting out of these doggone buildings because we don't do nothing about it. There's no way that we can have a legislator in office for 21 years uncontested and not know that he ain't done nothing for us. Hey, I had to close y'all out, and I honestly know that the media is gone now, and you know, the little buzz, they got a buzz now, the Judge Floyd buzz, they're trying to make it die down. So can y'all let them hear y'all in this building? First of all, just throw a fist up for me. And just say his name. George Floyd. George Floyd. George Floyd. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. I love y'all. Black lives, black lives, black lives, black lives. No doubt. Give Mr. Thompson another round of applause. So, Minnesota is one of the worst places to live for black people in the nation.
So we'll be proposing something called the Minnesota Migration Act, which focuses on reparations and economic justice for black people in the state of Minnesota. We have the highest disparities in healthcare, the highest disparities in unemployment, the highest disparities when it comes to the criminal justice system. The highest disparities in this country are right here in the state of Minnesota. So we want Governor Tim Walz. We want the Posse Caucus. We want the Republican senators, the Republicans in the House, to pass the Minnesota Migration Act and work on it with us. The Minnesota Migration Act is a reparations proposals for the American descendants of slavery in Minnesota. Coming up next, we got Hayden, and she's going to talk to us about Juneteenth.
Hello? Hi. I wasn't really prepared to come up here, but Juneteenth is about celebrating black people coming together because we were never free. We're not free right now. When slaves were abolished, they were just put in prisons. We were never free. We are still in chains, and we need to break out of them. And us coming apart is not going to help. Justice for black men, justice for black women. We need to fight for everybody. Today is about celebrating black people coming together. I was an immigrant. I came here when I was 8 years old. And I still feel the oppressions of black people. I am a black woman. I'm raised in a black family. Even if you're not black and if you're not upset about what's going on, you're a part of the problem. If you're not willing to speak up, you're a part of the problem. Silence is violence. It's not okay to support us when George Floyd is killed. Black people have been killed for 400 years. Injustices started when we were stolen from our homes on slave ships. It is not a new thing. Keep fighting for black people. The racist police, we need to take them out. Abolish the police. It is not about reforming the police. We need to get rid of them. They're never going to help us. We need to fight for ourselves. The government won't do it for us. They've been putting in reforms forever. They abolished the police, they abolished the slaves, but then they said it was okay if you went to prison. They say incarcerated people cannot vote, but they still count for the Republican districts and count them as part of their bodies, but they don't get to hear their voices. They continue to exploit us even if we're free. Continue to fight and continue to celebrate the beauty of black people. Never stop saying their names. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all of them. We need to fight for each other, not come apart. Black lives matter.
I'm Les Lester. All right. I am running for the 5th Congressional District in Minneapolis in the collar communities. Thank you. Dr. Martin Luther King, back in 1967, talked about an annual basic income. And one of his last books was, Where Shall We Go From Here? Chaos or community. COVID-19 has accelerated us to the future. We thought that the universal basic income would be something that was way ahead of us. But then Andrew Yang, during the presidential campaign, of course he dropped out in the earlier part of 2020 here, talked about a universal basic income. Make no mistake about it. It is a socially engineered poverty that surrounds the globe. In America, we have a $20 trillion gross domestic product. Banks have been bailed out. Wall Street has been bailed out. And all we need, and it's all up to you, is 20% of that $20 trillion for 9 months to the next 12 months to see if it'll work. I believe it'll work, and I'll tell you why. Because the resources that these people get, that you will get in your pocket, $2,000 for you, $2,000 for your wife, $2,000 for your 18-year-old, and the work you're doing too is going to be reinvested in your local community. When that is reinvested in the local community, that money is going back into the tax coffers. Where shall we go from here? Chaos of community. We are in a very, very tedious position because we could fall into a dystopia. People start getting killed and shooting everybody. And so I want to go to Congress and deal directly with some other things as well. I'm going to tell you what it is. Again, my name is Les Lester. You can Google me. I'm a former MacArthur Fellow at the University of Minnesota. University of Minnesota. There has been a terrible trick played against America and the world. And when you Google leslester.org, it's been quite a while ago since I was at the University of Minnesota. I did the research. This is what I found. Before the Greeks, you had the Minoans of black culture. It's been covered up with modern art, and you will see, you'll be able to see the primary source information. Before the Romans, the Etruscans, it was a black culture, you'll be able to see it. It's been covered up. And of course, Egypt, but the entire Middle East. Egypt, straddled both, Ethiopia, straddled both sides of the Red Sea. Arabia, Muslims, Arabs, you start out black. You are a buffer zone, Europe to the north, Africa to the south, and to the east, Asia. There should not be any division between any of us out here. And the East Africans began to travel around the borders of the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. They went to India. Today in the Andaman Islands, there's still people with hair like mine. You go over and you look at the Hawaiians in the 1800s. You Google my name, you'll be able to find. They're blacker than I am. All the way over to the Americas. Native Americans were blacker than I am in the 1800s and in early America. But we're still going along with this colonialist history. When we can join together. It's time for universal basic income, and this is what researchers have said. We're going to have time to get on the internet. Everybody, all of you, push for the universal basic income. We deserve it. It's our inherited wealth. We're going to be able to get on the internet and research about COVID-19. Black people and our women have been struggling for generations, always behind the 8 ball, never able to get a chance to just take a break. So despite the difficulty, this is a time pregnant with opportunity. America, the world, let's grab this. It's ours. It's not the Rothschilds. All Congress has got to do is meet with the Federal Reserve. The dollar is not backed by gold anymore. It's backed by our economy. So we're going to get this $2,000 per individual. We're going to put it back into the community. And we're on the launching pad to our future. And we will travel to the stars. Give yourselves a hand clap.
Black lives. Black lives. Black lives. Reparations. 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 Economic justice. Economic justice. Economic justice. Reparations. 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 Cotton made America rich. Cotton in Mississippi, one of our presidents, went into Mississippi and cultivated it and had slaves cut down the trees, and they planted cotton, and the slaves planted and picked cotton. That cotton didn't just stay in the South. The cotton was shipped up north. The cotton was shipped to Britain. The cotton was shipped around the world. And that money went into the United States Treasury and gained interest and made America great off the backs of enslaved people, black people, or black lives. Tobacco made America rich. Tobacco was picked by our ancestors in Virginia, in the colonies, and made America rich. So today, we're here to demand what is owed to us because we were never paid for the work that we did. Aunt Jemima, we just seen that her likeness was used for hundreds of years to make money for one group of people, while the other people whose likeness was used lived in poverty. Jack Daniels' recipe was made by a slave named Uncle Nears or Mr. Green. And then Jack Daniels hired their children. Didn't give them stock in the company, didn't give them part ownership. We're gonna just give you a job. We've had a job for 400 years without getting paid. We want part ownership. We want ownership in America. We want ownership in St. Paul. We want ownership in Minnesota. So home ownership in the city of St. Paul for just people of color. That means Latinos, blacks, Asians, everybody who identifies as a person of color is at 8%. But for black people, that number is probably like 2-3%. And we've been here. 2.95 homeowners. 120, the unemployment level for black people in St. Paul, our white counterparts, according to Isaiah, we're 120% more unemployed than whites. So who's picking our trash up? That's important, but reparations is more important. So we need Isaiah, we need all the organizations out here to stand with us and demand that we get our check from the United States government. That's what we want. And if we're gonna advocate for trash collection, let's make sure that 50% of the contracts are going to black businesses, even POC businesses. So we have Monique Dottie here, Monique Doty Callers in the building, lead organizer with Minnesota, Black Lives Matter Minnesota, and the aunt of Marcus Golden, who was killed by the St. Paul Police Department. Monique has stood up for everybody's child who was stolen by the police in Minnesota. So let's give her a big round of applause and bring her up. Monique Dottie Callers Dottie.
Thank you all so much. When I say June, you say teen. June, 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 June. Right, that's why we're out here. But if it wasn't Juneteenth, we'd probably be out here protesting anyway. So we're in the same space, right? What we do. So I want to talk about the history that's been hidden from the descendants of enslaved African people. And I don't call my ancestors slaves. I humanize it, and we call them enslaved African people because they were not citizens in America, right? So I'm a descendant of enslaved African people. And what we're always taught and told is that the civil rights movement was peaceful. We're taught that the slaves were compliant until they were set free after the Civil War. We're told that now demonstrations, should be peaceful, that, there should be no broken glass, otherwise it's called violent when acts of violence cannot be committed against inanimate objects. And we have a history, my history, of enslaved African people rising up and fighting for their freedom. That's often hidden. And we can look at Haiti. Why is Haiti so broke and so poor? Because they rose up and they fought and they got their freedom. But then they had to turn around and pay the people who were enslaving them, and they robbed them of their money, and they've been punished ever since. And that's why they don't receive help. That's why Haiti is so poor right now, but they're free. But they were free, right? And so we have stories that you can look them up and find where enslaved African people weren't always just sitting around waiting to be free also. When the Civil War hit, the enslaved people heard about it and they were just running off. They were leaving the plantations, right? And they were finding and hooking up with soldiers from the north. And then, guess what? In America, we had concentration camps for enslaved African people who had run away because they weren't turning them over to the South. Some of them, they might help in the war effort, but they couldn't have weapons at all. But because they were skilled laborers, they were able to even build communities because they were there for a couple years sometimes, build houses and communities, had their own environment until they were moved and taken away from that. But we have a history of resistance, that is in our genetics, which is why we stand up and why we fight and why we always still declare that Black Lives Matter. It's in our DNA because we've always had to fight since we've been here. So we talk about historical trauma, there's historical fights that's in us as well. So on Juneteenth, this is truly a celebration after lies from the colonizers about people who are free, still keeping them, still gaining revenue from the enslavement of these people who are actually free, lies told by, the people in power and in control, which we still have lies being told by people in power and people in control, right? History repeats itself. So we just have to remember on Juneteenth, it wasn't just then, at that moment where people became free, people were fighting for it. And sometimes they fought till death, and then their death was freedom because it was better to die than to be enslaved, and to be dead was to be free. So we have some different philosophies around that as well. And that same philosophy can also take place today because we see people, black, white, and every color in between, putting their bodies on the line, standing in front of law enforcement. We stood in front of tanks that were lined up across the Capitol steps, a couple weeks ago. But we've never had change without some bloodshed, and it's so tragic. It's so tragic, and we've seen people across the country that died after uprising, after the death of George Floyd and so many others before him, because enough is enough. So on this day of Juneteenth, we need to recognize and remember and honor and give tribute to all those enslaved people who didn't see freedom. We need to pay tribute to all those people who saw what was ahead and jumped off the ships because they'd rather drown than have generations enslaved. We have to pay tribute to the people who fought because not just white allies, not accomplices, but comrades working hand in hand, right, to end slavery. We had comrades, we had white people, abolitionists, right, risking their lives for our freedom, coming up north to tell the story about what is happening down south, right? It was against the law to even have the literature, to have meetings about abolitionist work. But they would bring those materials up to the north to say, hey, this is what's going on down south, right? But the north benefited from slavery. Minnesota benefited from the institution of slavery, right? The University of Minnesota benefited from the institution of slavery because it got a loan from a slave owner to open its doors again. And guess what it did with that loan? After the Civil War, Minnesota wrote a statute. Minnesota's good at that when they want something in their benefit, right? Wrote a statute that those who owed money to the South, they didn't have to pay it back. So the University of Minnesota profited off slavery, did not repay that loan to that individual plantation owner, right? But we had money from the South coming up to the North. We had enslaved slave owners, well, plantation owners would come vacation in Minnesota, right, during the summers because it was so hot in the South. So Minnesota profited as well, just even on the tourism industry. So Minnesota, although it's north, has ties to slavery. It has benefited from the institution of slavery. And this is also a reason why we still have cities like St. Cloud historically rooted in slavery, because you had people who were in the north. It doesn't mean that you were against the institution of slavery. There were many people who lived in the north who were wealthy, with many who were very much pro-slavery. Right? And so we still have their descendants here. We still have generations here. And this is one reason why you see so many white supremacists and nationalists rising up today, because they're trying to relive the glory days that their grandparents talked about. Right? They think they got a second chance. So on Juneteenth, we have to declare that we're free, and we're free from white supremacy. Can move forward. And when I say freedom from white supremacy, it's also how it impacts us as black people, incorporating some of these messages that may make us feel inferior. So we have to fight back as well. But because it's being talked about, because it's being acknowledged, because we have white people actively engaging, right, in conversations in educational spaces and places to learn about white privilege and to see what situations they have never had to deal with, right? So on Juneteenth being free, we're really not free yet. There's a lot of changes that need to happen, but we've come quite a ways. And we still have a ways to go. But Minnesota, I thank you, Minnesota, because the nation and the world is looking at us, because we are truly leading the way. So when I say black lives, you say matter. Black lives! Black lives! Black lives! Black lives! That's right, we declare that because we believe that, and you're here and you believe it, and we're in this together. So when we're in the streets and we're on the freeway, then we become comrades because we're out there together doing the work, and that's what we have to continue to do. And this is about embracing all people who are oppressed, because the struggle is for all of us to be free. It's not enough for me to just say, oh, okay, now I'm black, oh gee, I got reparations, but see, if my brother over here does not have an immigration status and security, then that's a problem for me, right? If my indigenous brothers and sisters can't protect their land and the water, then that's a problem for me, right? Right? And I'm not just talking, I'm out with these groups and working in solidarity. And these are people that I love, right? Because I've gotten to know them, and they come out and they support our work, because I don't believe in receiving and not giving back. You know, so if you have an organization and you're doing some work and you've been out here and I've been in the street with you and you may want some support, reach out to me, right? It's not one-sided. It's not one-sided. We're in this together. The more we know about each other, the more we grow, the more we'll get to the place that we need to be. And we'll start tearing down even more walls of oppression and injustice. And so 40 acres and a mule, we didn't get it. But think about it. It was native land. And so we have to remember, look at the condition of our indigenous brothers and sisters. to look out and say all this land that they didn't believe that they owned. It wasn't about ownership, right? It was about embracing the spiritual aspect, because our life has value, the tree has value, right? The grass, everything is given for a purpose and a reason. So imagine them being off on the land that nobody else wanted, and then seeing it destroyed, right? What they use as a part of their faith, being destroyed and torn apart. So we have to remember we are all connected, and you're here, so I believe you already realize that we are connected. And so I have to remember when we're in the streets and we say Black Lives Matter, we say Native Lives Matter, we're like Hmong Lives Matter, Stolen Lives Matter. That's right. Because we're not turning our back on anyone. You've been killed by the police. You know, you're burying your loved one, that's pain, right? And people need support. So I think Minnesota, one of the reasons we've been able to come so far is because we, as Black Lives Matter, we have embraced everybody and every cause. And we see you embrace us as well, showing up in spaces, holding space in the name of Black Lives Matter. So on today, on Juneteenth, when we're celebrating the last of our ancestors physically being free, right? Because we know after that there were still many people who lived on the plantations to work the plantations and didn't get paid. They just got a place to stay, right? Or they worked and then they got, oh, so many pounds of cotton, and then they tipped the scale and said, oh, it was only 3 pounds, and well, you still owe us from the sugar you got the other day. So, you know, we just didn't get ahead, and we couldn't get ahead. So this is a time like when Trey Hearn was talking about the reparations. There is a real need and a justified reason and historical evidence and timeline. We can see reparations are needed, reparations are required. So reparations now! Reparations now! Reparations now! Reparations now! And when we have reparations, we get a good solid financial foundation up under us. What happens with our interactions with the police? If you have one, you can buy a lawyer. You can pay for a lawyer, a good lawyer. You can have a better outcome. You can pay for your bail if they arrest you for whatever reason, right? You can do that. You're not having an encounter with the sheriff because you're getting put out of your apartment because you can't pay your rent. So that's one less encounter, right? You can afford medical care. So if someone's having a mental health crisis, they can get an appointment and go see someone, right? When you get a financial foundation, it changes your lifestyle. It changes things, right? So we need that economic foundation, because when we were free, when our ancestors were free, they didn't have that, right? They were just turned loose into a Jim Crow, and you know, they might get snatched up because, oh, you have to be off the street at a certain time. What freed enslaved African person had a watch to know what time it was? So, you know, literally we had people just missing because they're out after a certain time. And then they became enslaved again in the prison system, working for free labor, and that still happens today, right? So this is Juneteenth. I just want to share a little bit about some history, a little bit on timeline, bring it up to today because Black lives still matter. And if George don't get it, shut it down. If George don't get it, shut it down. If George don't get it, shut it down. So that means we need all 4 of those officers in prison, because we'll be rising up again. They better figure it out. And real prison time. Real prison time. For those, and that truck driver on 35. We gotta bring some attention to that. There's no way anyone else drive into a crowd, drive into one person like, oh, he didn't realize what was going on. He didn't mean it. No, his license should be revoked. He should not be driving. He should be sitting in jail awaiting trial. And you know what? That sends a message that it's okay for people to run into us, because we've never seen a piece of legislation come from here about protecting people who are protesting, and we continue to see people driving their cars and hitting people, particularly after St. Paul police officer put on a newspaper thread, he put, run them over, run the protesters over. And then just drive 2 blocks, say you fear for your life, you'll get off, right? That went nationwide. And how many people have actually taken their car and driven it into a crowd based on what that St. Paul police officer said? Officer Rothaker, right? And then what did he do? He just retired with benefits, and because he's an officer, he retired, and that stopped the investigation. Another law that needs to be changed, right? Because if I worked at a bank and I robbed a bank, and I resigned, they're still going to do the investigation, and I'm still going to jail, but not for the police. So there's more legislation that needs to come forward, a lot more, and we need protection for all of you, the people who are out here protesting. Not just protection from people driving in, but also protection from law enforcement and their rubber bullets, which are not actually rubber, flash grenades, and other militarized weapons that they use against us. So, thank you all for coming out after Juneteenth.
Black lives! Black lives! Black lives! All right, this will work. So no, stand here with me, brother. This is what we want to do. So again, for some of you all who are just coming, my name is Brian Foreman. I'm a lead organizer for barbershops and the Black Congregation Cooperative of Isaiah. And we have a veteran. You see all this brilliant talent up here in leadership? Yes. So what we want to do, thank you all. So this is what we're doing. This is the intention around what we're doing. We want to show solidarity. And we want everybody to be clear that BBCC of Isaiah and Isaiah Whole, we support reparations. We support that the disenfranchised communities get what they rightfully deserve for being in this country. But more than that, what we want to display the solidarity. It's very important that every last one of you all understand that this kind of leadership, my kind of leadership, and all these leaderships right here, is for the common outcome. And I only have one action for you all before we actually leave this event, for our brothers and sisters to continue doing amazing work that they're doing, and we celebrate, we congratulate you all. This is what I want you all to do. So it's working, you all. Us being out here right now, it's working. And we've productively merged 2 events into one. So I think that actually warrants a celebration. And I salute every last one of you all for your patience and your grace. God bless you. This is what we want, though, because this is the next action. In the culture of Isaiah, we believe in action. I want all of you all to go to your Twitter accounts, and I want you to tweet Gazelka. And I want you to say, Gazelka, we need you to push the posse agenda forward. So for everybody who has a Twitter account, please get on your Twitter account. And again, you need to tweet Gazelka and say, we want you to push the agenda of the posse. They have worked relentlessly for this. These bills actually demonstrate what we need to be doing in the state of Minnesota and how we need to model that across the state. So I won't say no more, because I respect what these brothers and sisters are doing. I actually encourage this space to make sure we get reparations. But understand this, reparations and the dismantling of our people being murdered in the streets are no different. And if you actually was listening and you actually heard, even in reparations, we had to talk about what was going on inside this building. So understand, they are all of one. There's no separation, no division. It's all of us together in this. And all of you all together in this as well. Thank you. God bless. Enjoy the rest of the festivities. Enjoy. All right. Black lives. Black lives. George Floyd. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name.
Okay, we got, for running for Congress in the 5th Congressional District, we got Minister Toya Minister Toya Woodland, and she's going to sing the Black National Anthem.
Woo! How many people know the Black National Anthem? Like 3 of you. Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to teach you the Black National Anthem. We had to say this every morning when I was going to elementary school along with the Pledge of Allegiance, right? So it goes like this. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the roaring sea. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Sing a song full of the faith that the, wait a minute, I'm sorry, y'all. Full of the faith that the darkness has taught us. Facing the rising sun till our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. There's a meaning behind that song. There's some words in there, right? It says, let us march on till our new day is won, right? That means that let us continue to fight until we get the things that are owed to us. Let us continue to fight till we have equal rights in this country. Let us continue to fight till we are no longer 3/5 of human beings. Let us continue to fight till they stop telling people to be scared of us when they enter this country. Let us continue to fight till all of us are standing hand in hand. But we can only stand hand in hand if we stand up for each other. If you want me to stand up for you like we always do, like Monique was saying, we stand up for everybody. We need you guys now. In this moment, we need black, white, indigenous, we need Somalians, we need West Africans, we need everybody, kids, cats, dogs, I don't care who you are. We need everybody to stand up for us and say, American descendants of slavery deserve what? What? You guys be blessed.
All right, so we have a couple announcements. After we leave here, we're going to go to People's Park, or we'll be going up to 38th and 5th, where George Floyd was murdered by the Minneapolis Police Department, and we'll continue to celebrate Juneteenth for the rest of the weekend. There's rallies all weekend. If you go to the BLM Minnesota page, RSVP right there. There's a TARE, T-A-R-E, African Museum, Minneapolis Museum of Civil Rights will be put where the 3rd precinct burnt down. That's where the Minneapolis civil rights.
All right. This will be very brief. It's a quick announcement, and I want everyone here to support it. Please go to your phone, find the link. There is an Instagram page, there is a petition to sign, there is a GoFundMe. So what we're trying to do, the organization that I'm affiliated with, is to turn the 3rd Precinct Police Department, where those criminal murdering officers used to work. We want to turn that spot into the Minneapolis Museum of Civil Rights. I think there is no better space. Thank you very much. So if you can pull out your phone, the link is www.linktr.ee/Civil Rights Museum Project. Again, that is linktr.ee/Minneapolis. One second, I just don't want to get this wrong. Please give me a second. Yep, so linktr.ee/Civil Rights Museum Project. Please go to this. You will find the Instagram page. You will find the petition. Please sign the petition. We want these people who are working in this building to like support this. I don't think there is a better place other than that third precinct for this museum to be built. It should be a national museum for all the U.S. So thank you very much, and I would like to give the mic back to the people who actually speak better than me.
If Jamal don't get it, if Jamal don't get it, if Jamal don't get it, if George don't get it, if George don't get it, if George don't get it, if Marcus don't get it, if Marcus don't get it, if Marcus don't get it.
So again, real quick, the St. Paul Recovery Act is designed to get reparations for the American descendants of slavery who reside in the city of St. Paul. The Minnesota Migration Act is a reparations proposal for the whole state of Minnesota. So when you talk to your lawmakers about police brutality or economic injustice, tell them 75% of black people want direct cash payments for reparations. But reparations isn't just about money, it's about changing our criminal justice system, ending homelessness, making sure that we have cooperatives, socially responsible cooperative businesses, housing, land, farming, food, medical. So just last night I was reading about a condition that without slavery there would be no medical field or no medical started with slavery. They did experiments on our ancestors, whether it was through gynecology or seeing how much pain a slave can take. If you tried to run away from the plantation, you would be diagnosed with dementia or something like that. But basically, what the white supremacist was telling black people that if you try to be free, you're crazy. Imagine that. If you want to be free, you're mentally ill. So that's what we have to, and that applies to us today. When there's people who think outside the box, they're saying they're mentally ill when they just don't want to be a slave. So that's something that we have to really look at again. There's events happening all week. Give yourselves a round of applause for coming out to the first ever reparations rally here at the Capitol in St. Paul, Minnesota. Give yourself a round of applause for standing up for the people who have been abused in this country for 400 years and demanded economic justice for the work that we did for free. Thank you for coming out today. Continue to enjoy and network amongst yourself. Peace.
God bless you one and all.
God bless
No
you.
justice?
No peace.
No justice?
No peace.
No justice?
No peace.
We are fighting against systems, circumstances, principalities, and powers in high places. It's going to take not just one weapon, but all weapons to dismantle the evil that is racism. We are not here because of one problem. We are not here because of one racist. We are not here because of one people. But we are here for all problems. We are here for all problems. The fact that black lives has to be stated that they matter shows that there is a problem that is systemic in not just one place, one area, or at one time. But there's been a problem for a long time. But we are here today to state that we will no longer allow that problem to go on unstated.
Amen.
The presence of fear is the absence of faith.
Come on, say it again.
Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. You are here asking for a justice that you have not seen. Black people are here asking for a justice that they have not seen. But because it has not been seen, does not mean that I do not have faith that it can exist. I will continue to demand that I see what my faith has already shown me. And I ask you to continue to demand to see something that you believe should already be here. Do not let this moment go. If you are afraid, they are comfortable. But if you demand to be comfortable, they are afraid. The change you want to see is going to come from the passion that has been shared on this podium today. Do not hide your anger. Do not hide your passion. Allow your passion to fuel your direction. But know what you're asking for. Know what you want to see. Know the justice that you seek. Because if you know justice, then you will know peace. But if you don't know justice, you won't know peace. You must participate in the education of the people who are not here. You must participate in the communication of the people who are afraid to have the conversation. You must participate in the uncomfortableness that this state and this nation and this world is needing to have. Because if they are comfortable with their knee on our neck, they will continue to leave it there. But if I walk in the power that says I will carry you while your knee is on my neck, then there is power in the scripture that says that all I have to do is stand. I will stand with their knee on my neck as my forefathers have done for 400 years. I will stand with their knee on my neck to prove that you can't even at that point hold me down. I will stand with your knee on my neck because my power is greater than your knee. I am not afraid of their knee. It's been on my neck. It was on my neck when I was in school. It was on my neck when I went to college. It was on my neck when I excelled. It was on my neck when I found success. And it's on my neck right now. And I refuse to back down only because you have your knee on my neck. The narration that George Floyd gave you as he surrendered his life to struggle to breathe is the narration that black men, black women, black children, black mothers, black fathers, relatives of all sorts have had for generation upon generation upon generation. But today, at this moment, after 28 days of rioting, after 28 days of constant and consistent protesting, they are afraid. Continue to apply the pressure. Continue to make your voice known. Continue to walk in organized strength. Do not allow your voice to go quiet. Do not be embarrassed about speaking out. Let your voice ring like freedom should be. Because if I'm not free, then I'm going to ring the bell for justice. No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice! I'm a resident of Minnesota for 25 years. But I hail from Texas. And in 1980, I was 6 years old when they first passed Juneteenth. Yes, ma'am. In an area this size in Austin, Texas, as we were demanding that they pass the bill, as far as the eye could see, black people everywhere celebrated as they passed the state bill to make Juneteenth a state holiday. We have educated ourselves in Texas and throughout the nation that it took them 2 years, from 1863 to 1865, to let every black person know that they were no longer slaves. But it has taken over 152 years for us to get to the place where we're not going to take this no more. And we want all of the Emancipation Proclamation. We don't want just a piece of it. We don't want just a part of it. And we want you to join in on completing the emancipation of your brothers and sisters. We want you to stand in solidarity as we raise our voice. And while ours go hoarse, you speak up too. This is not a black problem. This is a white problem with black people. We need to stop letting them go on the cheap voice that racism is a black problem. It's not a black problem. You raise your voice and you help us raise ours. No justice! No justice! Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be able to stand together as brothers and sisters underneath your grand creation to demand what you made perfect in the first place. As we have created these wrongs and perpetuated these evils, forgive us, Lord God, for our sins, as we forgive others who have sinned against us. Lord Jesus, we thank you for your sacrifice, that as a man of color on this earth, you were persecuted for nothing, and lifted up and killed for nothing. We recognize our wrongs, but we recognize your rights. And as we fight for ours, may you bless each and every one of us, from every race, from every creed, from every color, from every religion, from every denomination, to be able to recognize each other as the creation that you perfected us to be. As we leave this place, let us not depart from your presence, that as we go everywhere, we carry your spirit along with us, that we demand for fairness and equality no matter where we go. And we will give you the glory, the honor, and the praise that can be given to no one else. Be with us as we fight for each other. In your name we pray. Every heart saying, thank God. Amen. Go in peace.
I want to thank everybody for coming out on behalf of Black Lives Matter, Darnella Goes Green, Woodland for Congress, and ICIL Ministries, and all of the other organizations that signed on to co-host this this event. I want to thank you guys for coming out. I also owe Pastor James an apology because I was a little upset when I got here, and I took it out on him, and I truly apologize. That's not who I am, and my pastor would be really mad at me if he just don't tell him. So, but yes, I want to say thank you. I love you all. We all have to stand up for one another. It is really important, everyone, that we stand up, that you stand up, stand with us as we fight for reparations. Because we can't do this fight alone. We've been trying for over 400 years. We've been trying ever since they promised us 40 acres and a mule, and we have been unsuccessful. But we all stand together. If you say reparations now for our black brothers and sisters who are native to this land, who are descendants of slavery, they have to hear all of our voices. They can deny my voice, but they can't deny all of our voices. Let me say that again for the people in the back. They can deny my voice, but can't deny all of our voices, right? So we're going to close this out. We love you. We thank you. And we're going to probably do some more events like this. I didn't mind that too much. And so you guys have a blessed day. Anybody?
So I'm sorry, it's me again. If you would be close for closing. So many of you came and they said they missed the link. So I found a board with a very bright color. Again, this is for the Museum of Civil Rights at the 3rd Precinct. So I think it's an amazing project, and please support it. Sign the petition. If you go to this link that I'll spell out again, linktr.ee/Civil Rights Museum Project. Again, it is linktr.ee/Civil Rights Museum Project. And I think someone is going to write it with even a better...
right here.
Thank you. All right, so there is a few signs going around. Please support this, sign the petition, give us your vote, give us, support it with your money. Thank you very much. Anybody wants to...
Help with the garbage. There's bags going around. Make sure you pick up your garbage. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Y'all have a blessed day, and stay strong. Stay strong. Thank you.